podcast. So feel free to drop your messages into the chat and we'll pick those up as we go along. We love to hear from everyone watching. So post in the chat now who you're going to be cheering on and who you think is going to be victorious tonight. Nick, what is the Race of Champions and how's the format going to play out tonight?
Hey Tim, and good to be here tonight with you for this, you say, very special event. We don't often get ourselves on the air on a Saturday night for the viewers, but so the Race of Champions. So all of the drivers you're going to see out on track tonight are those who have competed and won themselves a place through competing in the iRacing community leagues, which have largely followed a official race of some discipline, track and car, across the course of the last few weeks at iRacing UK. So it's been great. People have been getting involved on Saturday nights and having some real fun. It's a no pressure environment. And yeah, tonight we're with the guys who've had practice from 7:30, and the qualification will start or has been as well at 20 past as well. So we've got the first heat coming up at 8:30. There's going to be 4 heats this evening of 3 laps each and 4 drivers. Now, one driver to feature, obviously in that as well, in the late feature race. There's also 3 consolidation races, including 3 laps, and again 4 drivers, and 2 of those will also go to the feature. And then that final feature race that we just talked about, obviously 10 laps, 1 driver removed each lap, and there'll be obviously 1 winner at the end. So the final list of drivers that we've actually got for this evening, we've got James Armstrong, Carrick Stonehouse, John Watt, Tom Carroll, Ben Cullen, Michael Warrington, Ben Brodie, Nick Print, Phil Diaz, Rob Sanford, Carl Cranswick, Adam Donovan, Josh Wilson, Simon Barber, Chris Hitchin, James Cockram, and Cam Brown. Some names you'll recognise in there, hey Tim, from a lot of the leagues that I've been watching recently. James got involved in the P Cup. He's also been obviously one of the drivers that we've seen in the GT3s, one of our stronger drivers in the GT3 Pro League. So we should be in some really interesting racing tonight, because the Ford Mustang, a car that we definitely don't feature very often here on the channel, Tim.
No, I think it's taking its virginity of being featured on the channel. Like you say, it's a car that's not really run too much. It only features within the one series, which is the SimLabs Production Car Challenge, along with the Mazda MX-5, main staple of rookies and coming up through the ranks within iRacing. Also the Volkswagen Jetta and the Pontiac Solstice, which is incredibly slow. And yeah, I'm glad the drivers aren't racing that tonight. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the drivers get on with the Mustang. It's not very stable, especially through transitions and with its weight transfer, Nick.
Yeah, well, this is, I guess it's a fairly heavy car compared to perhaps some of the other ones that we've looked at previously. As you said, it's part of the production car challenge. We've seen a few of the guys this evening going around the lap and getting a bit unsettled on those curbs. You said it's not a very stable car, and as soon as you start to throw that weight balance left and right, that's going to start creating some problems for the drivers. Now, the car itself is a 4.6 litre V8, so a lot of grunt here that the drivers are going to be able to play with. About 325 brake horsepower in the fixed setup. So I'm really keen to see just how kind of racy these guys get throughout the course of the evening, because at the end of the day, this is heat racing and there's everything to play for to get yourself into that final round. We saw it in the Porsche Cup late last week when we had the first race again here at Hockenheim. So we're back again, obviously within the same week pretty much. And the guys in the Porsches, every heat race that we saw, there was action throughout the field, Tim. It was absolutely spectacular to work, and obviously you were there to just comment on some of the action between heats and see the final as well.
Wow, what a race Porsche Cup was on Sunday night, Nick. It was wheel-to-wheel action up and down the field constantly throughout all of the races, so the 2 heats, the consolidation, and then the grand final at the end of the evening. Absolutely brilliant racing. Now, for the Porsche Cup, we raced around the Grand Prix layouts, the full layout of the Hockenhiemring. Tonight, the drivers will be racing shorter circuit. It's the B circuit. Now, that's only 1.6 miles long, or 2.6 kilometers, depending on whether you're imperial or metric. And the difference is as you head round turn 1, Nord curve, about halfway along that straight, you hook it right, and then there's a couple of S-bends, and that then brings you out into the Mobile 1 curb and into the stadium section. We're just going to ride on board here. So as you can see, we're just turning off right now, and we've got the first of the two sort of like quite open chicanes here. Across this quite short straight. Then they're going to hook a left, and then another right into another quite open chicane, and then it's hard onto the brakes and really try and get the car around and turned. This is where you can see the driver struggle maybe with the short left-right here, as then we then enter into the stadium section and head down to Sachs Curve, where it's a more familiar part of the lap. This obviously maintained from the remodel of the circuit a few decades ago, where the drivers used to head out into the forest along the long straights before they hit a chicane, another long straight, another chicane, and then a long straight before they entered into the stadium section. It's just around the last corner here. This was Rob Sanford. I'm sure we've got the Sanfords in the chat tonight who'll be rooting him on. And just mentioning, Paul Joseph Cliff, thank you for the subscription there, sir. And Unprepared Jay, thank you for the follow. Now, it's well worth mentioning, obviously, to give us a follow on Twitch, on YouTube, give us a like and also a subscribe on there. Now, on Twitch, you can also subscribe. Now, if you've got an Amazon Prime account, you do get one free Prime subscription, which you can use, and that'll be gladly received. Alternatively, there are a few other options where you can just take a bit of a look, see if you fancy it, and those will be widely received. Now, the community is run completely free of charge, and we've got numerous leagues which all this revenue from the streams helps to pay to ensure these leagues are kept completely free, and the whole service is put in a lot of time and effort from volunteers. And what a community it is, Nick. And we see the culmination of all the league races and also the community league tonight following at the end of season 2.
Yeah, and the thing that you will notice this evening, hopefully, amongst some of the drivers, and we certainly saw in the Porsche Cup, is the pure amount of respect that these guys have for each other while they're racing. So absolutely a place to come if you want to race with some drivers who are there for pure and honest racing experiences. No kind of messing around, Tim. I don't think we ever have any particularly horrendous incidents. Albeit GT3, we definitely saw some flying cars throughout season 2 at certain points. And I think the other one that we've seen is the flip barbers when we followed that series as well. So accidents happen, but for the most part, we are a great, clean bunch of guys on the racetrack here. So Tim, you mentioned the subscriptions for Twitch. Obviously, we do have the YouTube channel as well. So click on the like and subscribe on those YouTube videos. Like, comment, subscribe, as James May would say on the Drive Tribe videos. So yeah, great to get the feedback on any of the content if you want to see different ways of doing this in the future. But obviously, the subscriptions really help us out in terms of progressing the content. Now, only a minute left, Tim, and it looks like we've got some people just looking to practice starts. I think that's Adam Donovan there that we're looking at.
It is, yes. It's got a new car to a lot of the drivers tonight, where, it's, like we were saying earlier, it's not a car that's, well, like we say, it only appears within the 1 series, and it's not a car that's commonly driven due to, obviously, the MX-5. You come through rookies, and then you come into the production car challenge, where, obviously, a lot of the drivers tend to continue on with the Mazda, and very few tend to pick up the Mustang, because it is a paid option, where obviously the Mazda is free, and likewise with the Jetta and the Solstice as well. So it'd be really interesting to see how the drivers fare tonight, because I know for a lot of them, like I say, they've never driven it at all. So we're just currently on board with Donovan here as he practices yet another start and trying different ways to get the car off the line. It's going to be really crucial tonight, isn't it, Nick?
Got someone off there. Is that the curbs? Maybe
Chris
that's
Hitchin,
Chris Hitchin, is it? Yeah, the curbs. Obviously, we mentioned earlier. See a few of the drivers this evening just managing to trip over it. I think Sachs Curb's going to be an interesting moment on the circuit this evening, because it's one of the corners where we saw in the Porsche Cup some people diving really deep in on Sachs Curve and trying to. You can go too wide on that banked curve, and the banking on the lower part of it is probably where the speed is. So, Tim, we're going to go over to the first heat now.
We are. So, in the first heat, we've got 4 drivers. We've got John Watt, Phil Diaz, we've got Nick Print and Chris Hitchin. So let's see how these drivers get in. So Nick Print qualified via week 3 of the Community League. Phil Diaz, he was week 5 of the Community League. So the Community League, we take different places each time. And we'll cover the drivers in a second as the lights get ready. They're just about to come on. 3, 4, 5. And race 1 is go. And they're off a really bad start there from Nick Prince, struggling to get the car away in that mint-coloured Mustang in the background. But John Watt has got away cleanly, and he's heading off the first. As we've got Diaz running very much to the inside, going heavily defensive there, Nick. And it's a battle between Diaz and Hitchin, but they need to be really careful here as to not allow Watt to get away. Obviously, the first driver who comes first in this heat qualifies automatically for the grand final. And quite calm and tame getaway there, Nick. No real elbows yet.
Oh, I don't know, but look at this there. We're getting a bit up close and personal here, bouncing over those curbs as everyone is trying to establish position. Hitchin did actually, I think, let off a little bit earlier on when Phil Diaz went to that inside line, as you commented on earlier. But the guys at the back here, it's Print and Hitchin that are the ones to watch by the looks of it. Print, after that slightly unfortunate start that he had, now right back on the tail of these guys ahead of him.
Yeah, Phil Diaz under a lot of pressure here, where Hitchin and Print, 2 quick drivers within GT3, really almost being held up by Diaz here. And there's Hitchin's power sliding out of the last corner there, really getting that Mustang loose. And while this is going on, John Watt is around about 1.3 seconds clear at the front. The driver's using all of the track and more there. And Print just seems to be sat at the back and not put his nose in there, but doesn't seem to quite have an answer. Oh no! Oh no! Oh,
we've lost the leader!
John Watt, I'm not sure what happened there, excuse the pun, but that has now gifted Phil Diaz, where he was struggling to keep hold of second place and keep Hitchin at bay. As he called him, no, it was his brother. No, he's gone wide now! This is going to allow Nick Print through. We've got contact! I think that's Chris Hitchin out of the hit. Nick Print, in 1 lap, has gone from 4th place, dead last. And he's come through to the front. It's all now just down to Nick Print and Phil Diaz as they come round Sachs curve here.
And there he is, round the outside.
He's carried the momentum, and Diaz doesn't seem to have an answer. And all of a sudden, Nick Print's had he's been like, he's had the seas parted, and he's allowed to come through, and he's come through so slightly cleaner. I know that contact with Chris Hitchin, but it looks like he's through, and there we go. That's the white flag. We've got 1 lap to go now. So this is just about Nick Print maintaining that line, and let's see if we can go back and find out what happened to John Watt. Exactly, he was slightly off camera, sorry. And yeah, got a bit too early onto the loud pedal there, and tried to correct it, ended up on the grass and caught him out even more. But while we were watching that, Nick Prince got away. He's now over a second clear of Diaz as he rounds into the last few corners, just about to enter the stadium section. And I think that was, as soon as John went, they all seemed to get a bit eager and a bit argy-bargy as everyone got their elbows out.
Well, Nick took advantage of a situation there where obviously we had Phil and Chris getting a bit close together through that kind of different section that they're not used to driving necessarily, these guys. And Nick was able to take a little bit of a dink, I think, on the back of Hitchin's car. Not sure there was much he could do about that given the situation, but here he comes over the line. Nick Print is your winner of race 1.
Wow. 2 laps ago, I would not have seen that one come in, and he's the first qualifier through to the final. Congratulations, Nick Print. Obviously, Diaz, Watt, and Hitchin will go through now into the consolidation final. Chris Rowlands is our roving reporter in the pit lane. Chris, are you there? Can you hear us?
Evening, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me.
We can hear you. We've just got the grid handing up, but what did you make of that after the first race?
There's some interesting things I think we can point out there. So firstly, I believe they're lining up in opposite of IR. So if you've got the lowest I rating, you're starting on pole. And we saw with John Watt there, he had a healthy 2.5 lead. But sometimes that pressure of knowing you've got 3 very quick guys behind you can tell, especially in this car, which seems to be quite an equaliser, as we just start on the second heat here. So let's see if the same thing happens again.
Yeah, so we've got Cullen who's come out in front. We've got Cranswick, Armstrong and Stonehouse in this group. Some really, really strong racers. Ben Cullen, he's out in front, but he's got Armstrong looking to throw it up the inside. That's Armstrong. He looks like he's going to take first position. But Cullen really getting a bit wide and a bit oversteery there, but he's maintained right on the bumper, and he's got Cranswick for company. Stonehouse just in that yellow Mustang in the background there, just dropped off a little bit, but as we've seen from race one, absolutely anything can happen. It doesn't matter if you're fourth, he could still have a chance of winning the race, as Nick Brink showed. And oh no, we've got this Cranswick. Cranswick spun there, Nick, and that's him gone from contention, and now the freeway battle is down to 2 for first place, Nick.
Obviously, with only a few laps in it here, there's not much time to get these tyres warmed up, and there's not much time to get yourself up the order. So pushing hard sometimes is a painful ending for these guys, as we've just seen for Carl and obviously for John Watt in the race earlier on. Now, Mr. Armstrong here under a lot of pressure from Mr. Cullen. These guys, James really threw himself up the order in the first lap, and now Ben wants that position back, so he's going to try and keep the pressure on. And we know for a fact that accidents do happen in these Ford Mustangs, so let's see if they'll be able to keep it nice and tidy. Armstrong just maybe pulling out a little bit of a gap on Cullen now, and Carrick, Stonehouse and Carl Cranswick just in the background there. I was about to say nowhere to be seen, but just about in the background of the cameras.
So Ben Cullen, he drives an absolute variety of cars very strongly. The GT3, the LMP2s, the F3s, and he's going to be drawing on all that experience, and he's absolutely all over the back of Armstrong. There's 2 laps to go. Ben Cullen in that red Mustang, James Armstrong in the green Mustang. James, we've seen incredibly strong performances in GT3 all season long. And these two are real titans of the community, and this could go absolutely any way, as we've seen. But it looks like Cullen's just dropped a little bit back off us. Armstrong's one wide there, and this has allowed Cullen to catch up, and Armstrong's got to go defensive here, Nick, as they take the white flag. 1 lap to go. Ben Cullen, he's ahead. Cullen's done it. Cullen's got ahead, Nick.
What's happened to James Armstrong for him to be so slow there? Was it just the poor exit? I mean, that was incredible work from Cullen, just holding it together there. He had the speed down the straight, but oh, James has lost it. He's locked on the brakes. He's gone too deep, and that is probably his race over. He is the defending champion. A lot of pressure on James's shoulders, so Cullen has literally just got to get it through the lap now, and he will be our winner.
So Cullen's got about half a lap to go now. But I want to just calm things down now. He's got around about 2-second gap to Armstrong. So he's got plenty of time as he enters into the stadium section, heads down to the Sachs curve. That's gap still at 2 seconds. And Cranswick, ironically, setting the fastest lap of this heat so far, a 1:11.10. That was on his last lap, but he's way too back. That's just only going to be a mere consolation as Cullen just rounds the last couple of corners now. Let's not curse the coming from the commentator's curse, Nick.
No, he's done it. Look at that. He's made it through. James not able to do anything on that last lap. I think he knew after that accident that it was all over. You know, he'd lost all the pace and then gone too deep on the brakes later on. That's a shame for James, as we quite a strong battle between those two at the start, and it was an absolute delight to watch. So thank you very much to our drivers for providing such a variety of entertainment.
So, Chris Rowlands, what did you make of that one?
I thought that was a very strong heat there, because you'd expect to see Cullen, Armstrong and Cranswick all possibly in the final. They will have another opportunity in the consolation heats later, and as you say, with Carl getting the fastest lap, there's a lot of speed still there in the field of people not yet qualified for the final.
So we've got round 3. Wilson, Carroll, Warrington. Only the 3 racers. Here we go. Lights out and they are off. And it's a great start from Tom Carroll there in that pink Mustang on the left-hand side. We've got Wilson in the orange Mustang. He's going to run it round the outside. Look at the speed. Josh Wilson, carry there. And oh, we've got Warrington and Carroll really banging doors there for position for second place. But while that goes on, oh, Warrington's run wide. That's going to cost him dearly. But while that's going on in the background, Wilson is gallivanting ahead, already 1.8 seconds clear, Nick. And we've not even completed one lap yet.
Fantastic work from Wilson. That was a really commanding start. He absolutely knew what he was doing into that first corner, carried all the speed. Tom Carroll getting caught up here with Warrington, and Warrington off the track there, not able to keep it on. Oh, that's a very unfortunate situation for Warrington. That's allowed Tom Carroll now to just sneak through as we see Wilson coming into Sachs Curve. Wilson we will know from the Formula 3 League that we ran here on iRacing. So worth mentioning that he actually won the round 7 of the, oh, he's P3, sorry, in the Community League round 7 in the GT4s, which is how he qualified for the session this evening.
So Warrington, another of the drivers, obviously you mentioned at the back, they've seen that purple Mustang. He qualified in week 8 of the Community League, and Mr. Tom Carroll, recently new father, qualified all the way back in week 2, where we raced LMP2s, GTEs, and GT3s, following onto the IMSA Haggerty series. And wow, all this is going on. Josh Wilson is pulling up.
Tom's off track.
Oh no, Tom! He'll be gutted about that. It looks like he's wedged that in the wall there, Nick. And while this is going,
almost.
I think he has. Yeah, it's there's no way that he's getting that car out at all. And yeah, that's him gone to the pits. That's Tom Carroll's race over. And Josh Wilson, all this is going on, he's 6 seconds clear with 2 laps to go. And Warrington's going to have to work really hard here, Nick. And he set the fastest sector 1 time so far on last time around. So, but it just doesn't seem to have an answer for him. Wilson just calmly just stroking that car home.
Well, we have seen the leaders have problems before, so let's not close the book just yet on this one. So yeah, brilliant stuff there. Hopefully we'll go perhaps try and go to a replay of the start, because we had a really close start, and I want to see just how much of a launch Mr. Wilson got there at the start. So the other thing we might be able to catch is possibly Tom's incident. It was only a little bit of a spin, I think. Here we go. Just go back to that replay. So here is the start now.
Wilson, there he is. But it was, I think Tom Carroll got a slightly better.
Got a great start, didn't he? I think.
Probably if we look to the right-hand side now, we'll probably see him come alongside just about. Not sure if it'll show it from this. There he is. Just see the nose of that Mustang, where he absolutely aced the start. That's going to give it a nice bit of. Got his elbows out and shoved Mr. Warrington over there to say, this part of the track is mine. You're not having it.
It's a great angle from behind, actually, because we saw those guys going off track a bit, didn't we, at one point? Almost. I think we saw. Well, that was Warrington going off track after the second corner, I think.
Okay, so we've got Wilson just. Oh, this is the last lap, and just coming through the last couple of corners, and this is it. Warrington's managed to close the gap by 7/10 of a second, but it's not been enough. Josh Wilson wins Heat 3 and books his place into the final.
Great drive there, great start, a lot of confidence through the first corner, and that served him well, because the guys behind him, Warrington and Carroll, obviously getting a bit caught up in the background. Now we've got another race of 3 drivers here. It's going to be Cockram, Sandford and Donovan. Donovan we had been following on the cameras earlier during the practice session. Tim, over to you for the start.
So just waiting for the cars to grid. There we go, they're on the grid. 3, 4, 5 lights, and we are away. And Donovan in the red Mustang really lighting up the rear tyres there. But it's Sanford who's had the best start. He's cleared Cockram and got himself into position 1, but Cockram's looking for the cut back there. Looks as he seems to be carrying a bit more momentum, but look at Donovan after getting that real wheel spin start. He's coming. The car's just round the corner into the. And that's, oh no, that's Cockram running really wide, and Donovan did incredibly well there to avoid him, but it's allowed Sanford, Nick. He's pulled out a 2-second lead already.
Yeah, well, Cockram and Donovan should know full well that the more they fight, the more that Rob's going to be able to gallop off in that Mustang. So it just caught a little bit of the curb there on the inside. He's absolutely fine at the minute. He's just cruising away in the front, nice and calm, and he's going to let all the fighting happen behind him with Cockram and Donovan as they come into Sachs Curve, and Donovan's fancying a little look on the inside. Tim, we said it might be a place for a move, but it doesn't look like he was quite brave enough on this opening lap.
No, not quite. There's still three laps to go. So well, we say plenty of time left. It's not a great deal, and Donovan and Cochrane, the more that they fight and the less they work together, it allows Rob Sanford in that green and black striped Mustang to gallivant away at the front. Although Cochrane is closing the gap ever so slightly. There's Donovan taking some of the curb and a bit more of the sausage curb on the inside into turn 1 there. To come hard onto the brakes into turn 2, where we obviously saw that action of Cochrane running wide onto the grass, but they just don't seem to quite have an answer for Sanford, who sat the fastest lap of the heat last time around by 2 seconds, Nick. Over 2 seconds, actually, looking at it.
We would expect that from Rob, being that he's our rookie class winner from the GT3 season 2. So we know he's fast.
Oh, but he's off! No! I'm not sure what's happened there, Nick, and we properly cursed the commentator there. Rob Sanford's had an incident somewhere. So he's come onto the brakes. That's looking all relatively normal there. I'm not sure he's... Everything's... He's
deep.
Completely missed his braking point and his turning point and sailed straight on.
Well,
He'll be out
alive. Because look at the front runners. Oh no!
No! Cochrane's lost it. Oh, James Cochrane, what have you done? You had 1 lap to go. Oh, he's going to be absolutely decimated of that. So there's all there's Duncan Roberts saying in the chat on Twitch, come on the cock. And well, he's definitely buried it in the wall there. And Adam Donovan from last place, not having the best of start, lighting up the tyres. Now 6 seconds clear of Rob Sanford. That was second place, and James Cochrane in third. And it's all about him just stroking it home now. Nice and clean, and just as he enters into the stadium section, Nick. Wow.
Yeah. It was style points at the start with the burnout, but at the end of the day, we said already, didn't we? We've been watching very closely for accidents from the leaders and across the pack, and they've happened on pretty much where we've least expected them to, when we thought that Rob was going to just dance away into the sunset and have this in the bag. But instead, look, we're looking at Donovan, who had the worst start and the best finish. So great job there from Donovan in the number 16 car. Great to see on the podium. So brilliant stuff. Now we're going to be going into the next race, but I think first we should hear from our pit lane reporter, Mr. Chris Rowlands.
Yeah, there's a lot we can pick up on there. First thing I'm going to say is, as you said with Adam Donovan's race there, he could have tried to fight James on laps 1 and 2, but if you just hold back, see what happens, it's a little bit like, I don't know if you remember the Australian figure skater from the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Just hold it safely at the back and just let everyone die, and he's qualified to the final. So well done to Adam, sorry.
So we're just waiting for Tom Carroll to take to the grid. So this is the first of the consolation lanes. This is just while we wait for the drivers to... He's taken to the pits there, not too sure. It looks like he's missed the start almost. That's Sanford. Not sure what's happened there. Maybe he's got a hardware issue, was what caused his issue.
Well, we're off racing. We need to go to Tom or Phil.
Yeah, we've got a lovely view of Mr. Sanford in the pits there, and there we go. Just seeing him at the bottom of our screen, then head off. I can tell you that Tom Carroll's in front. Rob Sanford's now headed off out of the pits, and there we go. There's Mr. Carroll. So heading off from consolation, the first of the consolation races, and then Rob Sanford, he's 7 seconds down at the back. He's got all the work to do if he wants to qualify. Of course, the winner of this consolation race heads through to the final. But as we see, Nick, absolutely anyone could lose it. I mean, there was a brilliant pun within the chat on Twitch about James Cochrane that he's cocked up. Using a nice name pun there.
Well, Tom Carroll, we've seen him bury it in the wall once already and get stuck, so we don't know what's going to happen. Phil Diaz, also one that always going very wide there, but if they both stay ahead of Rob, they can actually go through. It looks like Rob's gone into the pits actually, so I'm not sure what happened to Rob off the start. Oh, and Tom's gone very deep there. It looks like they're both taking the same route. I think Phil trying to maybe just stay in the slipstream there by the looks of it. So if you can go quick that route, I'll go quick that way. But looking at this, it looks like Tom's under a lot of threat here as they head into the first corner, and Phil really getting it close behind now, not quite ready for the move. He might just hang in there for a few moments with a couple of laps to go. Maybe he doesn't want to push his luck, but he moves to the inside. He's going to get brave under braking by the looks, Tim. And
Here
he's
he
done it on
goes.
the inside.
That's the move done for P1. Theo
Oh,
Diaz said,
and there goes Tom again.
no!
In the
And he's
same
wedged it.
spot. He's wedged
And
it again.
It's repeats of the last heat race. If Rob Sanford hadn't pitted, he would have now been up into second place and obviously through. Now this is the race. It's all going to be done in the pits. It's going to be the slowest race ever as we now wait for these two. Who's going to come out first and who's going to head through, as Diaz is now, he's got the track to himself. He could just absolutely cruise around and wow, that's he's definitely through, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in the pits and whether Carroll or Sanford will emerge from quite possibly the slowest race on iRacing.
Car number 14 just cruising around. Mr. Diaz can have quite the comfortable sort of stroll now across the finish line on going into the final lap. So you know, not really any pressure at all here, especially after that kind of tragic first race that he had where he was leading and then lost it.
Newbleton saying about Tom Carroll in the chat, stick baby Ezra in the car. I think there we go. We look at Sanford's out the pits, Nick, and this could allow him to go through. I think he's going to be he needs to do another lap. He is a lap down. Tom Carroll can lead just over one lap. So I think we've got 2 minutes of the session left, Nick. I think this could be Rob Sanford through by some complete miracle.
Rob had just come from the last race straight into this one, so maybe he just got a bit confused with being thrown into the next heat so quickly. But he's out on track now, just cruising around. So all he's got to do, like you say, is complete the lap, and that'll be him done with a position in the final. So Tom Carroll's still very much stuck in the pit lane at the moment. Unbelievable that he got stuck in the wall again. That's what happened. I believe we might have the damage turned off on these cars this evening, and occasionally we do have the damage turned off. I just had confirmed from Sean there in the background, and sometimes you do see the cars occasionally get pinned into the wall when the damage is turned off. Definitely something we've seen in the Radicals before. Now it looks like Rob's gone across the line, but Tom's gone through by the looks of it.
No, so I think I did wonder that, but have they got? I'm not too sure whether they've
back
got
out,
one
that's
lap
why.
to go. Now Tom Carroll hasn't taken the checker flag, but it looks like, according to my system, Nick, I don't know about you, it has for Rob Sanford. Now we'll run with it that they've still both got one lap to go. Now Tom Carroll is ahead by, I'd say, probably about 2.5 seconds.
Sanford's finished by the looks of it, according to my screen, and then so Tom now really just has to complete this, and then
Of course,
he'll be through.
because where Tom's pit box is past the start.
There goes Sanford in the background.
So this where Carroll's pit box, and Sanford's as well, is past the start-finish straight, and obviously Carroll could already completed one or I think 2 laps already, where he recovered. Obviously, that's what's allowed him to be ahead and put him through. And well, after a nice bit of drama, never a dull moment here on iRacing UK, we have Tom Carroll, after binning it and having to retire to the pits, has somehow managed to claw himself through and book his spot into the final. Chris Rowlands, what do you make of that one?
Lot to unpack there, isn't there? I think what happened is when Tom towed to the pits, obviously when the tow finishes, it completes the lap you're on. So he came out on his final lap. Whereas I guess what happened for Rob was he was a lap down, so it sort of finished it for him. So not sure what would have happened if Rob had overtaken Tom there, if it would have counted for him or not. But we'll have to find out next time that insane set of circumstances happen. On with the next consolation.
So we've got James Cockram, John Watt, and James Armstrong. So all the J's.
All the J's.
And there we go. We've got Armstrong. He's managed to get past Watt there, and he's managed to squeeze his way through. But Cockram in that green with the white striped Mustang up at front at the moment. Around about 3/10. Armstrong just behind him, the green with the black and white side stripes. And then we've got so it's black with white stripes, and then we've got obviously John Watt and the more identical cars. No,
Ooh.
Cockrum, no!
He's lost a lot of pace there.
That nearly collected Armstrong there as well. James Cockrum really seems to be struggling with this car, Nick.
James Armstrong took a completely different line there. He went much deeper, where Cockrum sort of kept it a bit of a tighter line, and that seemed to just send him out onto the left-hand side. Maybe he's just the tyres, or he just couldn't quite get the turn in right. And James taking that slightly different line just seemed to pay him absolute dividends there. That's given him a nice gap of 2.6 now, which is obviously going to fare him well for the remainder of the race, as we have now 2 laps to go as they cross the line. That's James well ahead. Now it's just going to be a case of Watt and Cockrum battling it out in P2 and 3 here. Of course, we could see James go off. We've seen the leader go a number of times already. So
I think
oh, look at that! He's gone a bit deep there, Watt, into the second corner there, just a little bit later on the brakes by the looks of it compared to Cockrum.
Now, if you've really enjoyed the racing tonight, and obviously you can take a little look at previous broadcasts from the channel, both on YouTube and on Twitch. But if you'd like to join the community, you can either drop a note into the chat where one of our admins will pick it up and they'll send you a link to our Discord, or alternatively you can search for iRacing UK over on Facebook and join our group on there and request a link there. And also we are on Instagram and Twitch, and it's team_IR UK on there. And Armstrong, he's around about 1.5 seconds ahead, Nick.
The gap.
I don't know if I want to say anything now, mate. I don't know. After we've called it before, and look what's happened.
Yeah, well, James kind of just cruising. Oh, look at that! There goes Watt into the wall. We've seen people do it there as well on the final corner. I think that
was Cockrum last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Cockrum last time. Absolutely, yeah. He was leading the race and yeah, buried it there in exactly the same portion of wall as Watt has. So now it's really a case of, can Cockrum catch up to Armstrong? I don't think at the moment it's looking likely. With he doesn't need to in theory, because he will get through anyway, but still a bit of racing from these guys. It's good to see, albeit a bit confusing with the similar colour cars at the front, Tim, apart from the stripes.
Yeah. Seems to be a bit of friendly banter towards Cockrum going on. Someone's crowned him King of the Bottlers, and so, I know Cockrum, he has spun out twice from the lead so far. However, it doesn't matter if you win your heat. Well, obviously did in the first round, but however, with the top 2 drivers from the consolidation heats heading through, all he has to do now is just maintain this, and likewise with Armstrong, and that sees them through. So it's not all about the win. So it's just about remaining calm as they come round to take the checker flag. And I don't want to say until they've crossed the line, Nick, but I think that's our 2 drivers through.
Brilliant stuff. Chris, what did you think of that one? That was action-packed again, every time.
It really was. I think John has to consider himself the unluckiest driver in these heats, because he's actually the 4th or 5th quickest from practice, and he's been put straight into a very quick split in the first heat, and then the consolation, he's been very unlucky there as well, because that's a lot of pressure you're under, chasing in 3rd there, knowing it's your last chance to get in. Same here again. So we've got Carl, who I think has the fastest lap of anyone so far with a 1:10. Let's see if he can get through against Chris Carrick and Michael here.
Here we go. So we've got 5. Wait for the 5 lights, and we are off. Oh, that looked like a bit of a jump start there from Carrick Stonehouse in the yellow Mustang there. He seemed to head off a bit eagerly, but Warrington in the background there, not getting away very well. But we've seen that doesn't always matter necessarily. We've got Chris Hitchin in the grey Mustang in 2nd place, Carl Cranswick in the maroon, ruby red coloured Mustang there with the white stripes up the middle. But Stonehouse, he's pulled out about half a second, Nick, and quite evenly spaced out so far, these 4 cars, to be fair.
Well, Stonehouse looked like he got a bit squiffy there almost on the exit. He looks like he's a bit slower than Hitchin. Hitchin all over those curbs. Oh, and there you go. We've got another one off on the grass, just in the same place.
That's Stonehouse, and he's collected the coast. It's allowed Cranswick through. Cranswick's made his way, and also Warrington's managed to squeeze through as well there after that poor start. And Stonehouse goes from 1st to 4th in the space of 1 corner, Nick. Wow.
Drama every lap. This has been the heats proving to be an interesting format once again for us on another weekend where we try them out. So some awesome racing, some real twists and turns just in the storyline of this event, which has been really great to see. And obviously being not one of our kind of core leagues, but a more kind of a special event. I'm sure the guys here won't be too upset with themselves for a few spins here out on the Mustangs this evening. Now, Carrick Stonehouse in the pit lane, so it looks like Carrick has called quits on this one and put it, to the side of the track. So now it's just down to Hitchin to try and finish the job. But Cranswick trying to keep him honest at the minute, just staying in relatively sensible gap behind him, not too much between them at the moment, but with only 2 laps to go, it's going to be a bit of a push for Carl to close it up and try and take the top spot, although again they will go through with the top 2. Warrington at the back there now just having to try and pick up the pieces if he can, but as he said, not the best start, and that led us to seeing him as far back as he is now, albeit obviously he's managed to get ahead of Stonehouse with that accident. I think he might have just gone off actually.
Yeah, I think he has. Looking at the time machine, also our event logger seems to showing as he's come off track there, and it's allowed obviously Cranswick and Hitchin just to cement their places. However, as we've seen before, that doesn't always mean that you're completely guaranteed. We've seen big leads already eroded as they take the white flag there. Warrington just in the far background. Excuse me, as we ran the corner. He has, hasn't he, Nick? It's down to it's closing.
Oh, he's very deep on the brakes. Bit of a nudge there.
Carl Cranswick, how close was that one? It says well, these drivers don't need to race, but then you try telling a racing driver that they don't need to race. And Cranswick setting the fastest lap of the heat last time around, 1:11.5. So Carl's showing he's got that strong pace there, Nick.
Yeah, some great driving out there from Carl. He's still close now. Look, he's still going for it, even though you say they don't need to. They don't need to fight here. And into Sachs curve. Not brave enough on this one, but maybe Carl thinks he needs to win it to get through, but incredibly aggressive into Sachs curve. They're Hitchin just closing the door on him on the entry, and Carl not really able to do anything about it. And as they head into the final section, this is probably the closest battle for the front that we've seen for the entire event so far. So this is some great stuff here from Carl Cranswick and Chris Hitchin. But yeah, congratulations to those guys, P1 and P2 across the line.
It's been mentioned within the comments. A lovely view of Carl's helmet there. Bumblebee_VR, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Mr. Rowlands over in the pit lane, how did you view that one?
It was actually quite a nice, calm race compared to some of them that we've had today. Have we got another consolation left, or is it the final now?
It is
final now.
The final countdown to the final.
So there'll be a 5-minute warm-up before we get going. Now, I think some of these drivers will probably need that 5-minute warm-up just to settle the nerves.
I think so. It's wow. It's been non-stop, hasn't it? And we've seen plenty of drama throughout all the heats with drivers, either coming from the back or having strong leads at the front and falling off track and losing dramatically, and just really showing that absolutely anything can happen here, guys.
I think the thing that's been obviously it's just been drama, hasn't it? There's been absolute heartbreak for some of these guys who have been leading the races, and then they've come into early laps with these cold tyres with only a little bit of time really to try and warm them up, and in that competitive stage of the race at the start where they're much closer together, obviously just the pressure coming on and trying a bit too hard, pushing the car a bit further than maybe they should be, and they've come to pieces unfortunately. So very interesting, and with the mix of IR that we've obviously got across the field, we will be seeing probably a lot of similar action and lots of place changing throughout the next one. So the warm-up currently with only 3 minutes to go. These guys already out on the track. Look, a few of them out there at the moment, just coming down the pit straight, just trying to get themselves into the zone a little bit more, psyched up and ready to take on the challenge of the live final here at iRacing UK. Brilliant stuff, really, Tim. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I did not know what to expect from these Ford Mustangs, but it's been an exciting evening.
Well, it has. It's been action packed as always. It was always going to be a bit of a tough act to follow on from Porsche Cup and the drama we saw on Sunday night, and absolute wall to wall entertainment. But the drivers have delivered yet again here on iRacing UK. So you've got the feature race coming up. That will be 10 laps long. Now, at the end of each lap, one driver will be removed until on the final lap we are with two of our drivers who will fight it out for the win. And wow, this throw across to yourself, Chris Rowlands, if you're still there. Tactics are going to play a large part of this. How do you think it's going to be the best way to pan out? What do you think the drivers should do?
I think you want to take the first 2 or 3 laps where there's the most cars on track very carefully. I would say only if you're in last do you want to be doing any mad lunges. What you don't want to be doing is compromising your line with an overtake. So say, for example, if you're in 4th or 5th on lap 2 or 3, there's no need to fight it out with the guy in front of you, because all you're going to do is lose seconds, precious seconds, to those guys ahead of you. One other thing I wanted to point out, the fastest heat we had was Ben Cullen, who finished in 3 minutes 40.6. I don't believe anyone else managed to go faster than 3:42. So Ben, I'm going to lump as my favourite. He looked very strong against, I believe it was James in his heat. So that's 2 already very quick drivers. So I'm going to curse Ben by saying he's my favourite.
So we had, I think it was also, Carl Cranswick in their heat as well. So 3 incredibly strong drivers. And obviously, Nick, who's going to be your favourite for the final?
I'm going to go with Adam Donovan. I reckon the rest of them will get a bit too enthusiastic off the start, and we'll start to see these cars heading over the grass onto the slippy stuff. And someone like Adam Donovan will spin the wheels up at the start, get the style points, warm those tyres up nicely, go through the first lap without any bother because he's maybe had that little bit of a slower start like we saw before. You know, never know, maybe we'll see him slip up the order. He's obviously a very competitive driver, and he showed his stuff this evening. And look, he's on our screens at the moment there, actually, car number 16, driving beautifully around those S's on the shorter version of the circuit. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Adam can do in this race.
So an interesting one for me is Nick Print. He set the fastest lap in practice, a 1 minute 10.7, which I think is faster than what we saw from, I know Carl Cranswick was running incredibly strong and having fast laps earlier. Take a firm Duke on me. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. And also we've had Chris Roberts, Winter Blades and Jonathan Hitchin all subscribed. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. So yeah, I think Nick Print's going to be really one to watch. We've seen within the GT3 seasons 1 and 2 just how strong Nick Print's been. But I think there's so many drivers you could pick from here. Like you say, obviously, Chris was saying with Ben Cullen. We've seen great performances from all season. Obviously, James. Chris Hitchens not exactly been no slouch either. And wow, it could go absolutely any way, couldn't it, Nick?
And here we go, gridding up now with 10 laps on the counter there. You've got Cranswick, Cockram, Carroll, Hitchin, Armstrong, Diaz, Donovan, Wilson, Cullen and Print, with a completely random grid for you here for the start of the final. So it looks like James there slightly further back down the order. We're going to be losing a car every lap here within this race. We've got Cockram at the front, on the front row with Cranswick. Probably a great place for Cranswick to start. He's a strong driver, and let's see if he can get a good gallop off the start line.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Obviously, we've got Cullen and Print on the back row in 9th and 10th positions. Just waiting for Cullen to grid at the moment. And they've got all the work to do. Strong drivers, they're going to have to get their elbows out and their knives out to carve their way through the field. But here we go. The lights are about to go on. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are away for the final. And it's a great start from Colin Carroll. No, Cockram's had an absolute disastrous start there, and he's lost a dramatic amount of pace. And also Donovan as well. He's had a really poor start there, but Carl Cranswick is galloped off into a lead, nearly pulled already a second. He's got Tom Carroll right behind him, but that was sort of really lunging in there, Nick. Was that Wilson? He's come from near the back as well.
Yeah, Wilson up into third position now. So Donovan is now at the back of the pack. Look at Donovan. He needs to make sure he's not on the back of the pack, otherwise he risks getting knocked out. Now, there is possibly going to be a bit of action here at the front, Tim, and look at that, James Armstrong getting his elbows out and trying to make his way back up the order after having a bit of a poor start, I think, from James. But he's trying to tuck his way in on the inside, and I think he actually hit the back of Donovan. And now we're going to get some two wide action here into Sachs Curve. This could end in complete drama here. There goes Tom Carroll ahead in the pink car, and there's Nick Print now, I believe, up into 4th position. Great driving from him, and side by side again into the stadium section, Tim. Armstrong's up to 6th. He's absolutely nailing it. Look, Hitchin down in last. Donovan's managed to claw it back from the back.
Wow, it's just showing. I think this is where we're going to see our first elimination. Chris Hitchin, he's come off track somewhere, and that's put him right down at the back. He's got all the way. Oh, there's contact up ahead. I've got a spinner, I think. There was that James Armstrong. I think one of those. I'm just trying to have a look.
James has dropped down. He's back into 6th position. I think he was pulling his way up a little bit, but he's under threat here. Look, he's losing places. They're dropping away from him. He needs to stay up there in the order so he doesn't get knocked out in one of the later laps. But Donovan now having managed to make his way up to 8th after the drama for him at the start. And look at this. This is great racing from these guys. Wilson now up to P2, chasing hard behind Cranswick.
Oh, no.
Donovan's crashed possibly.
Yeah, and Diaz as well. Let's take a look and see what happened. Here they go, just coming around to that trickier part. Oh, no!
That's unfortunate.
Oh! The double O. And so we've got Chris Hitchens still at the back, and he's I think he's dropped. Yeah, he's out now.
Yeah,
Diaz is right. He's eliminated. Diaz is now at the back. He's potentially going to be our next driver to go. I'm not too sure whereabouts we are on the track from that
Just
angle.
coming into the last corner, Tim.
So this is Diaz. He's going to be out. Now that leaves Donovan exposed. But look at Nick Printnick up into 3rd place from the back of the grid. Really strong from him. And this we're going to see Diaz ejected. Now there he goes. Adios, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, all over. Now we're going to go look at Cranswick. He's at the front still, absolutely commanding race from Cranswick, but he has only got about half a second now between him and Wilson, I believe. Oh, but look at that Print really putting the pressure on Wilson. This could be where we see another accident at the front as they fight for the top spot in this final. 7 laps to go, so a lot of time for them. Oh, Nick Print up the inside on Wilson.
Can he get the move done, Nick? I think this could be it. Wilson's going to have the inside for the next corner. No, he's got the move done as they come round into Sachs Curve. Tom Carroll's crashed some more off camera. Oh no, I think that's put Tom down to the back of the grid. It looks like he's going to be the driver to be eliminated. Yeah, he's 4.8 seconds down at the back. He's so unlucky, and we're good to see what happened to Tom there, but. Well, meanwhile, this happened. We've got Armstrong and Cullen really close by there. Here he is. He's just come slowly round the corner.
He's not got hit by someone, has he? Oh no, he's lost it all by himself there. He just hit wheel on the grass, and that's put him back into the wall there.
There we go. So that is Tom Carroll. He is out. 6 laps to go. The order is Cranswick, Print, Wilson, Armstrong, Cullen, Cockram, Donovan, and Donovan is now the last driver. So he is, let's have a little check in. He is about 2 seconds down on Cockram.
Cranswick under threat here at the front. Tim, sorry to cut in on you, but Print is absolutely flying up the order. He's done Wilson, and now he's going to do Cranswick in exactly the same place as they head now into Sachs Curve. Now Wilson had to get out the throttle here, but Carl has not, and he's going to try and keep that inside line on the left-hand side of Print, and he's done it. Look at that. He's really squeezed him out there and said, no, thank you, Nick. I want this position. Carl obviously not the stronger driver here as we go back down the order here and look at Armstrong, who's trying to claw his way back up into 4th now after having a couple of incidents earlier on in this race. Cranswick under enormous pressure from Print throughout the latter portions of this race, and Cockram here in 6th position, so he'll go through on this lap, and Donovan unfortunately will go out. He managed to survive a few laps just through other people's incidents after that very slow start that he had. Once, unfortunately, this time it didn't quite work out. So Donovan eliminated, and Cranswick, Wilson, and Print at the front here, really close together. Look at Print pretty much pushing Cranswick around this track, Tim.
6/10 of a second cover our top three, but these three need to really work together to pull up a gap, play the tactics game. And they've got Armstrong and Cullen, two incredibly quick drivers behind them, and they could do with pulling it away as a top three to prevent their top three becoming a top five, because after the end of this lap, based on the timing at the moment, James Cochran, he's got it through, Nick. He's got through for the lead. Now, can he capitalise? But that's allowed. Look how Armstrong and Cullen have caught right up to him, Nick.
I think that must be his favourite corner on the circuit, that little section with the concrete barriers on either side. He's tucked it up the inside of Cranswick twice there. The first time he couldn't quite get it done, but the second lap that he tried that manoeuvre, he's made it happen. So, yeah, fantastic work from him, and that's put him into P1. He's clearly the quick driver here this evening, so all we need to do now is see Mr. Print hold it together and get it over the line as James Cochran now goes out P6 and he's out of the race now. Ben Cullen's the next one under threat if he can't catch up to the back of Armstrong and get it round him, or maybe capitalise on a mistake perhaps from one of the guys ahead.
It looked like he was running a little bit wide there, Nick, and like you say, Cullen, the driver, all the work to do here. 4 laps to go. And, wow, this could go absolutely anywhere. We've seen from the heat races so far that our top 5, so the 5 drivers remaining, are covered by just over 2 seconds from 1st to 5th. And, wow, as we've seen already, anything could happen. And there's Armstrong looking to
going down the inside.
Is he going to get the move done up the inside of Wilson? No, he's not. But that's allowing Cullen to capitalise. Cullen's caught right up to the back of him. He's going to have to try and follow Wilson through on that inside line, and they've got to try and almost work together and push Armstrong out. Oh no! This could go anyway. Now Cullen's we're going to go 3 wide coming out the last corner.
Oh no!
All three of them spun. All 3 have spun. Now who's going to be the first to recover? Armstrong's the first to recover. Oh no! Cullen and Wilson are caught up on one another. And who's going to be the?
Wilson's
out.
out.
Josh Wilson from 3rd place, and is now going to be eliminated. Oh, Nick. Wow, but that's, I think Cullen's well down now. So it's looks like obviously Armstrong down quite a bit as well.
Oh, yeah, there's a hell of a gap there now between the front 2 and the bottom 2. Real shame for Wilson. He'd been riding up in P2 at one point. He had a fantastic start. He really managed to climb his way up the order and do very, very well off the start. But unfortunately now that's left him out of the race with that little incident at the bottom. They went 3 wide. It was ever so desperate into that stadium section, with Wilson losing a lot of speed on the exit of Sachs Curve when he was defending from Armstrong, who got a front wheel, I think, on the curb on the grassy stuff, and that was kind of where it all started to kick off. And then Cullen just came in at the last minute and tried to sneak it through, and unfortunately all 3 of them bounced very much off the track and turned round, and Armstrong, the one that able to just get the car back on track, back on the tarmac and over the line to eliminate Wilson.
There we go. This is going to see, speaking of eliminations, here we go. Cullen's going to be out now. We've got 2 laps to go, so we're down to Print, Cranswick and Armstrong. And sorry, about Cullen's, I think he's still going. Yeah, I think he's still got a little bit left to go in the lap. But wow, just looking at the timings, Nick. Nick Print, he's setting really quick laps. He's setting the timing screen in light. Quicker. Those last 2 laps have been over half. Well, over a second quicker than Carl Cranswick in 2nd place, and now he's nearly 3 seconds clear of Cranswick in 2nd. I think it's James. It almost looks like James Armstrong sort of semi-given up a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think the gap there, just he knows it's a bit too much. He's not going to manage to catch it up to the back of Mr. Cranswick, who had a great start to this race, but just wasn't quite enough of a match for Nick Print at the front. And as he really tries to get a bit of a power slide on there he goes, and he's threaded across the line in a knowing that he's lost that one, unfortunately. But a great race from James, because he was right at the back. He had a real torrid start, and to finish in P3 after all of that, he's a great job there.
Yeah, we've seen it, obviously, recovery drives from him. Obviously, we saw it at the end of Season 1 GT3 League, where Mr. Paul Buzzy was incredibly unlucky and spun out in the last but 1 corner, allowing James to come through after their almost race-long battle. And Nick Print now, he's 2.8 seconds clear on the final lap. We see Carl Cranswick there in the distance as they head down to Sachs Curve. But as we've seen so far, Nick, that does not mean that this is over.
Absolutely
Anything
not.
could happen. We've seen it happen in pretty much something happened in every single corner. Some form of incident, but Nick Print, a very stable driver. It's going to take a lot for him to dislodge him from the top of the podium as he rounds the last corner, and there is the checker flag and the crown of the Race of Champions for iRacing UK goes to Nick Print. Congratulations, Mr. Print.
Great drive there from everybody. That was really interesting stuff. Again, lots of drama there across the field. And yeah, really enjoyable session to be able to watch with all of our viewers this evening. We've got some great racing there, some some shocking incidents, and some moments that we didn't expect to see there on the stream and these heats. So great stuff. Chris, can we go over to you? What was your favourite moment, or what was the moment that took you by surprise the most in that race, in that final?
I think the most surprising thing was the mad scramble to the finish line when Josh, James, and who was the third person?
Ben.
My apologies, Ben.
He's just backing up the replay, and I'm sure it'll appear on to the viewers very soon, I'm sure. Here we go. It's all live. Here we go in slow-mo. So I think that's Josh Wilson in the orange Mustang in the middle there. We've got Armstrong on the left and then Cullen on the right-hand side. Obviously, Cullen was the one with all the work to do. Armstrong getting a bit sloppy and power sliding there just before he got to the last corner. And there's Cullen. He's got the
How
run on the
much of
pair
the
of them.
You take so much of the grass on the inside there after Wilson had lost a
Oh,
lot of pace, and it's like Skittles. Look, dink,
yeah.
off they
Cullen
go.
knocks into Wilson, who knocks into Armstrong. And there's Armstrong did get incredibly lucky there, Nick. And
Synchronized spinning. How about that?
I
Here
think
on
we
iRacing UK.
there we go. And Armstrong's flicked it all the way round into the correct direction. And I
I
think we're
wonder
now
if
to see.
that's intuition, maybe.
I could well be. I think we're going to see Wilson. Chris Rowland's favourite moment here is Josh Wilson stick it into reverse and almost trying to play Wreckfest and ram Cullen out of the way and disable his car to prevent him from getting across the line before he did.
If anything,
But
that helped Cullen, didn't it?
I think it did a little bit there.
Maybe it was a friendly nudge to get him back on.
So I think Nick, it's after another night of fun and action. I think it's time to round things up. I think we'll be back again a week tomorrow, aren't we, for more Porsche Cup action? Where's the next round from?
We're at Snetterton next for the Porsche Cup, so that will be interesting. I don't think we've actually had a live stream race at Snetterton as of yet that we've commentated on,
No,
Tim.
we
So
haven't, have we?
will be the first time. We've had Hockenheim a couple of times now, so it'd be interesting change. We'll see what the guys have got at the Porsche Cup at Snetterton. Yeah, it's going to be a great race. With us heats have been just as excited tonight as they had been in the Porsche Cup, if not more in these Mustangs this evening. So really looking forward to what they're going to have in store next week.
Of course, if you'd like to join the community, as we mentioned earlier, you can head across to our Facebook page, which is iRacing UK, or alternatively, drop a message into the chat on stream, where one of the admins will pick that up and send you a link. Run a Friday Night Fun event, ironically named there, and that's basically where the two of the members of the community put on each week some free different races, generally largely from free content, so nothing that you have to pay for. And that throws up some very weird and wonderful combinations and some interesting racing. It's there for a bit of fun, nothing competitive, and always a good bit of Friday night entertainment.
I suppose,
And
Tim, we should say some thank yous to our
I
viewers and
we should
drivers.
do.
Yeah, so a big thank you to everybody who's hit that subscribe button this evening and the follow button. If you're watching on YouTube and you've hit the like, that's very much appreciated. Again, give the iRacing UK YouTube channel a subscribe as well. Thank you very much to all of our drivers for providing us with some fantastic entertainment. It's been great to see these guys going head to head at the Hockenheimring this evening. And a big thank you, obviously, to the team here behind the scenes. We've got Sean Cranley Swash on the cameras as our production manager. We've also got Chris Rowlands, our pit lane reporter. We've been graced by the sound of Chris's voice between the races this evening. And then Tim, thank you very much to you for being here with me tonight to enjoy this fantastic evening of heat racing.
Nick, what a pleasure it has been, and we look forward to seeing all the viewers next time. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.